Hey, how are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Thanks so much for making the time to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
I really appreciate it. I got some.
Oh, you do good stuff in the world.
Have you checked it out?
Yes.
You do good stuff in the world as well,
Oh,
Miss
thank
Katie.
you. We do our jobs, don't we? We do what we're given, and
Yeah, you've had a little bit more time to get after the job than I have. So
well,
hopefully,
it's it's I just never cease to grow, and I love that you're the same way.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm working on it. Do you? So I'm recording right now. I think you guys are
Okay.
recording as well. The format. Are you familiar with the podcast that I do? It's okay if you're not.
I am,
Good.
I haven't listened to it. I've just looked at your bio and your
Okay.
invitation,
Cool.
and it impressed me enough to yes it.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I don't do any type, just to give you like a little bit of a sense of the direction I kind of go. I don't do any kind of like introduction and like welcome to
Good. Oh,
the
just so you
office.
know, I've never listened to my podcast either.
Perfect. Perfect. I've narcissistically listened to mine excessively. So
Oh,
we're on a different end of the spectrum.
well, we can grow from the things that we say.
That's got yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. But yeah, so I don't do any type of introduction saying like welcome to your own office. Thanks so much for I just find all that weird. I prefer to just record an organic conversation.
Uh-huh.
And when I start the conversation or the podcast episode, it's just whenever it seems interesting. So the early stuff I may or may not leave in. And anything that is said, which I don't think anything on your end you want to cut out, but we can cut anything out. Like it's just free conversation. No.
That's
Yep.
very cool. Spontaneous. Let's go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing. So thanks so much. Do you have any questions or anything like that for me before we go?
Uh, no, let's just roll.
All right, cool. So something I think that man, I hate asking these questions because it's something I know that you've said a million times.
Mhm.
But for folks that aren't familiar with your story of getting into like the introduction of the work,
Mhm.
would it be possible that we kind of dig into the beginnings of that?
Sure, sure. A lot of depression, more than a decade of really serious depression. And then there was a moment in time that I just experienced what created all my suffering, all my depression, um, and so that's what I'm bringing to the world. It's a way to question the thoughts that cause our suffering, the
Hmm.
thoughts that cause us not to be free in this beautiful world, the thoughts that hold us back and make us um, feel unworthy or frightened to really get out there and live life
Yeah.
on its terms.
So something that I think I kind of tackle in my own self is sometimes kind of like a sensation of like purgatory of sorts, of like not dark enough to really change,
Uh-huh.
but not necessarily
Yeah.
light enough to feel weightless and just like prancing through the world.
Yeah, purgatory. Well, that's not so bad, Aaron. I
Oh,
love that
please.
you go with that. And it's when you have a problem, when people have a problem, this is one place to turn. Inquiry is a place to turn, and in the meantime, for for people that it's just not so serious that they really want to bother with it. I would say for those people, if you're meditators at all, that the work is meditation, and it's a different way of getting still and inviting in that teacher that really matters, meaning what's shown to us in that silent, when in that silence, when for example, I might ask, um, no one cares about me, and just ask myself, is it true, and just meditate on no one likes me, and to just see what appears to me in that silence, the answer that really meets in thoughts and images and in apparent time, past, future, showing me the answer to, is it true?
Hmm.
And 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 then I have three other questions, of course, and ways of dealing with thoughts like that. But they come to when they come, we either believe them or we question them. There is no other choice. So this is for people that just want to have a really good time as they sit in themselves. Enlightenment is the opposite of dread. It's the opposite of uncaring. It's a trip I invite people not to miss.
How do you feel when people accuse you of being like a sage or being enlightened or things of that nature? Are you like, hell yeah? Or how do you feel about that?
I can learn a lot from you, Aaron. Hell yeah. No. I would, and I wouldn't hesitate, except that I'm not that mature yet.
Okay, that's perfect.
I really can't claim it. It's what I received was a gift, and I just can't really take credit for it, as odd as that may seem. I'm just happy. I'm just grateful that I'm out of that awful suffering, and to pass on to anyone who's open to it that there's another way. There's a way out of depression and loneliness and isolation and addictions and low self-esteem. There's a way out.
Is there value in going into the depths of that isolation or addiction in order to kind of pop out to the other side? That's kind of like the purgatory place that I feel like.
Yeah. Well, we're doing it all the time anyway. So we either just hope for the best or turn to outside sources to shift it. And that lasts as long as it lasts. Or we can question what we're believing that would put us in those states of mind. And then we begin to recognize them when they show up again, and we're more enlightened to it. So we believe it or we question it. No other choice. We believe it or we don't when it arises.
What do you see when you walk around like a Safeway or a Whole Foods? Is when you look into people's eyes and when you look at just people moving around the world, is there anything that pops out for you that maybe just this game that we're living in? Or
a connection. This amazing connection, an Erewhon. Oh my gosh! If you want to party, go to Erewhon, and I don't know. It's just connection, just connection. I used to be so. What is it when you're just so fixated on yourself? You think people are just thinking about you, so self-absorbed.
Right.
And there's another term. It's
narcissistic.
For sure. But threatened by what I think people are thinking about me, and so I could never connect, and it was really uncomfortable being in public, and years ago more than uncomfortable being in public. It wasn't even possible for me. It was so so full of confusion. So connection, and it doesn't matter what anyone says or the way they look at me or anything. I've got that connection going that doesn't require them to be connected to me.
Yeah, I think I got it from you speaking about when we try to put on a mask or facade of what we think other people want from us, but it's not actually our true essence. And all of a sudden, if they do start to love that thing, we almost like resent them.
Yeah.
You don't really love me. You love this show.
That's right. It's like you can't love me. You love what I appear to be, that I have convinced you of out of my ego.
Yeah. So how the heck do people, is there any kind of like, how do people start to speak into their truth? Like, how do people get started?
I would identify what I'm thinking and believing when I'm upset, and then I would write that down. What I'm thinking and believing, I'd write it down. And on thework.com, there's a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, completely free. How to do the work, completely free. If I have it and it matters, it's free on thework.com. So you begin to put your thoughts on that piece of paper, or any paper you may have, and then you begin to question it, and the answers enlighten you to the cause of your suffering, and they wake you up to it. And then the next time the thought occurs, you experience it very differently. Now, if I have a thought, they don't care about me, to use that one again, then no one cares about me, they don't care about me, then there's no problem there. But when I see these images of the past or future in my mind's eye, those images are like, they look like the proof that no one cared about me. I see it in the past, there's the proof. And I want to go to the market, and I see at the market, it's the same thing. So these images of past, future, when I question what I'm believing onto those images of past, future, the next time the images occur, I'm awake. I know it's not real. It's a state of mind. It's a false state of mind. It's an ego's way of playing out identity.
And then the questions that you ask, can we go through the questions for people in a way that maybe they might be able to go through this in their own mind? Because I'm sure we have lots of chattery thoughts that pollute us all day long.
Yeah. So let's say they don't like me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a thought, I'm going to the store, I'm going to the market, or I'm going to a party, I'm going whatever it is. And I'm just sure that they don't like me. And everyone can choose their own thing that they think prior to going somewhere. And they can, you can identify that right now. But let's say people don't like me. And so the first question is, I would just get very still, I close my eyes. People don't like me. Is it true? And maybe my answer is yes, maybe it's no, but I'm going to get still in it. And I'm thinking of those people in the past. I'm moving from the party I'm invited to. I'm thinking of those people in the past where there's my proof. They even said they don't like me. I've got all this proof in my mind's eye right now of that situation where people don't like me. So they don't like me. I look at that. Is it true? And I'm just meditating on that. And then I move to noticing in the next question, how do I react? What happens when I believe the thought? I'm at home. There's no one around. And I am seeing that past where I believe people don't like me. And how do I react? What happens when I believe the thought? Well, I see those images that are convincing me. I feel maybe a tightness in my chest. I feel like I don't want to go to the party tonight because I see a future where it's just going to be the same old, same old. I feel stress. I consider calling the host and saying, I'm sick. I just can't make it. There's an emergency. So now I'm beginning to just misrepresent my life. I'm hiding out. I'm literally lying to people. And I'm just sitting, I'm still just contemplating, noticing those things. And then I see me alone and everyone else having fun, and I see all that as I'm meditating on how do I react? What happens when I believe the thought, they don't like me? And then that last question, who would I be? What would I be just right here, right now without the thought, they don't like me? And I just look around. There's nothing to be terrified over. There's no one here that doesn't like me except maybe me. And I begin to notice, and then I look at that images of the past and watching the people watch me, and as I recall it, and really, who would I be witnessing them not liking me? Who would I be without the thought they don't like me? And so I witnessed that, and I began to meet a group of people that I couldn't see it then, but I see something very different now. And I feel a lot of compassion. I feel a lot of gratitude. I'm meditating on a moment in time, and who would I be without the thought? So then, after sitting in that for a while, just witnessing, seeing what arises, what's shown to me to meet the question, then I turn it around. I find opposites. People don't like me, they do like me. And then I begin to meditate on that situation again and just see, was there one person there that smiled at me? Is there any, is there any proof there? Really? It's like, people don't like me. They do like me. Can I just see? So I'm going to kind of just hang out in that past situation until I can see people do like me, and see if I can find an example there. Now, I'm not going to fake it because I really want to know. So I'm looking at the past again through open eyes, whereas my mind was so shut down then. And people don't like me, turned around, I don't like me. Okay, so in that situation, where is it that I didn't like me? And I meditate on that. And it shows me. Maybe I said something that wasn't true, or I exaggerated, tried to win people's love, approval, and appreciation. I don't like me when I do that. And I feel fake and helpless. I don't like me when I do that. And then I notice, who would I be without that? And I notice I'm not being fake, and I'm just watching people, and I feel more likable. I feel more comfortable. So people don't like me. I don't like people. Okay, so I found that one very quickly. In that situation, I was believing they didn't like me, and I was resenting them. And as I look at it now, I have no reason to believe it, even though maybe someone said, I don't like you. I cannot know what they believe and what they don't believe. I've got to come home with it and see, what am I believing that would alienate me from the rest of the human race, from anyone. And our relationships break. We lose people we really love. They leave our lives. When we believe in our thoughts, we become really confused and drive people away. And I think relationships that break up, for me, they can break up, but I don't disconnect. I have no enemies, and people can not like me, but am I still connected? That's the point. So marriages break up, relationships break up, but we don't have to go to war. We don't have to dislike each other. We can just know, we don't have a lot in common.
How important is language on a momentary basis to you? Do you notice it feels to me like we kind of create our world around our language, and every word that we say, you could say it's like we're casting a spell on ourselves and those around us.
Very good. Yeah, we are.
Is that something you notice?
It's what I'm thinking and believing is the spell I'm casting on my life. And then that spills over to other people, because what I'm thinking and believing, I pass on to others. So is it kind? If it's kind, it's wise. So, yeah, and to live out of a kind mind, what an amazing gift. And we all have the power to sit in the question, is it true?
Yeah. Did you take anything home from your experience was it 2014? I think it was January 2014. You had a close call with the other side. Is that right? I read that in the book. Maybe I missed.
When I was in the hospital. Yeah. Was it that? Yeah. Where my 5 main organs began to shut down.
Yeah, no big deal.
And they didn't know why, they didn't know how, and I it was good with me, and it wasn't good with my doctors. It was not good with my children and husband, but it was good with me. Meaning, why would I fear the future, which is death? Why would I fear that when I can have life now, in this hospital, in this bed? And it was fabulous. My grandchildren there, my children there, my husband there, my family. It was fabulous. And if I did die, how would I know it? I wouldn't be there to know it. Death has a terrible reputation. But when we go to sleep at night, we're not dreaming. We wake up and we think, oh, I'm awake. We don't go, oh my God, I was dead all night. Oh my God, that terrified me. But death, like everything else, is life and death. It's what we're believing about life and death that is the cause of our our fear of life and death.
Yeah, it feels like kind of like you mentioned, like a marital relationship. It's like if you become too attached to the togetherness of that, you start to kind of choke it out. You don't let it breathe. And that's kind of like a micro metaphor for our attachment to being in this body.
Yeah.
You know, if you're so stuck on being in this body, you can't really celebrate being on this body.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of in a chokehold.
Yeah. So love the one you're with, and it's always you. Love you first, and you'll love your life.
Yeah. Did that moment change you at all? Was that pretty consistent?
In the hospital? They would say, doctor after doctor would come in for days going, we can't, we don't know what caused it. We don't know how to stop it. Basically I was dying, and no one could do anything about it. And I had a doctor, it's in A Mind at Home with It. So is that the book that it's in? A Mind at Home. And so with it, and she says, no one dies on my watch. And she was just so precious, and she was not giving up. So they came up with one last procedure that they were going to try. By then, pneumonia had just taken over as a result of the other organs shutting down, and she thought she would just try to clear my lungs, and long story short, I never saw a problem, and I love life.
Yeah.
I love life. I don't want to waste one moment in life worrying about the future. This is it. This is it.
How do you think disease manifests in the body? Like, obviously, at some point we're going to go back into the ground, but before it's your time, I mean, there's no way to say that. But
so when I have like a cold or a flu or something like that, just to notice, and when our mind is clearer, let's say, then decisions are so easy to make. I mean, there's no should I, shouldn't I, or oh, I'm too busy, or oh, it won't work anyway, or it's just oh, I don't need rest. I need to. I mean, it is so simple when your mind is loving what is. It is just so simple. Decisions they just make sense. Where it's the opposite of being crazy. So also people who are stressed out, working in the physical world, and as your interest in science, that when we're upset, the blood flow, everything is restricted, and there's not a flow there, so we heal more quickly. And when we're stressed out, our immune systems really drop. And we take on tendencies that, if we had inquiry in our lives, just aren't necessary. It's I say, like, at one time I was diagnosed with cancer, and et cetera, but in my life, cancer has a right to life. Laughter has a right to life.
Yeah.
Sadness has a right to life. It's just that the cause of all of that is what we're thinking and believing. So also inquiry has a right to life.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned as well was speaking of like any type of various different uncomfortable adjectives. So being angry or being sad or being anything, maybe not sad, but was kind of the root was fear. And then the other side of that coin was love.
Yeah.
Is it possible to look at things from like a binary fear-love perspective, or is that too much of a stretch?
So what's an example?
Well, just all of these various different emotions that we feel. Like if it's coming from love, then it's this place of openness and expansion. And then all the other side of that, if it's I'm pissed off at him, or I'm envious, or I'm
and
fear.
Exactly, and it's a direct result of what we're thinking and believing. So, and in that mode, people can't see you. Like, we can see each other here now, but they can't see you on your podcast. But your energetics, when, like in that state of mind that you were exhibiting, that I could see, it's the tension. Even though you were being lighthearted, the tension. We know how we react when we're at odds with ourselves and others in life. And yeah.
What do you mean the tension? You mean the tension as I was describing that?
Yeah, you were animated. You became you became animated. No, you look like a happy dude to me. I don't know about your private life, but looking good from here.
It's a roller coaster in here, Katie.
Yeah, well, do I have a couple of questions for you? So what most bothers you?
Well,
about life.
Something that's, I think, a big part of this is probably pretty vulnerable. I'm pretty sure at some point I probably mentioned this, but a big part of, from my observation of myself, one of the reasons that I've reached out into like the social media world and create a platform that I can communicate to people, a lot of that is to create support and network and tribe, and so that could be kind of like a deeper manifestation of feeling maybe a little bit unsafe or insecure and maybe alone.
Yeah, but
so there's always a reason that people go in, swim down these different pathways. And I think that might be something for me that I still continue to tackle on a regular basis.
Okay. So tackle what?
Tackle's not the right word. Sit with.
Sit with.
It's a better word.
But sit with what? Like, I guess it's got to come from you, but you look so comfortable and you do so much good in the world. And then there are those moments when you're thinking and believing something that would rob you of that true nature consciousness. And so I don't know, what concept would you come up with, Aaron? Or say it's a little more. So you started the podcast, and because
a story that I've explored, and it could be a fine part of the story, is I had some my father ended up going to prison, and when I was like 17 or so, and he was in a pretty, like, a extremely dark place, and it was like drugs and prostitution, a lot of really interesting things. And so potentially the story that I could continue kind of pondering on would be that put me in a place of feeling like the world could fall out from underneath you at any time.
Okay, so and that is only logical that you would feel that way, because the world did fall out from under you. Yeah. And the world as you understood it to be. So now the world could fall out from under you again.
Yeah.
Is it so that's a fear.
Yeah.
So is it true? And so the answer for those of you listening is either yes or no. The world can fall out from under you. Is it true? Can you really know that it's true that the world could fall out from under you? Now, the logical mind for most of you out there is yes, of course, if it happened once, it could happen again. But this is inquiry, and it does take stillness and an open mind. And yes, the answer could be yes or no. The world could fall out from under you, Aaron. Again, is it true? Can you really know that it's true?
Yeah, I feel like it's true.
Yeah, okay. So now notice, close your eyes and notice how you react. What happens when you think the thought, the world could fall out from under you again? And emotionally, where do you experience that in your body, and what's that like?
The way that I see it and feel it is, especially after being at this point in the conversation, and at first it feels like screaming and kind of like a throwing your hands up type sensation. And then the other end of that is, well, the other end of that, I guess, could be the throwing your hands up type sensation of just saying, like, well, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't feel that bad, honestly, as I'm talking about it right now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something you're getting in touch with. because prior to getting still with it, your mind might say it's huge, but getting still with it, you can see it's not so much. And just noticing. So now notice when you think the thought, the world could fall out from under me again. So close your eyes and notice the images of the past that you see when you think the thought, the world could fall out from under me again. You see your dad, you see you.
I don't see specifically my dad. And I feel like I've done a lot of work with that, and so it doesn't feel that sticky to me anymore.
Good.
And I think that I see, but it's kind of like this story. Like, this is all a story. That's something that you speak of. You know, like, this is the story that we tell ourselves. If we believe that, then it becomes real.
Yes.
If not, then we can negotiate it. And
it becomes real to us. It doesn't necessarily happen in the world, but it becomes real to us that it will. Or has.
Yeah. And so I've through doing your work and various forms of work, I don't feel as stuck on those ideas.
Yeah,
I see it expressing in my life a little bit of like, oh, okay, I see. A lot of the things that I think but this is about me, do is we really just want to be embraced, and we want to be held, and we want to be supported. And we want to feel like a part of something.
Yeah. So, you're really answering the question, who would you be without the thought the world could fall out from under you again? That connection.
Yeah.
What you were just pointing to.
Yeah.
That's it. So how do I react when I believe the world could fall out from under me? I drop the again, could fall out from under me. I see me walking, and I saw images of me taking a step, and there was no more gravity or ground. And I was just falling. And I wasn't even trusting the ground I was walking on. I just, I just saw it. And at one time I was, gosh, what is it? Like, just afraid, just basically terrified of everything. And so I go into some pretty interesting states of mind that were really terrifying. But I could, just not even trust the ground I was walking on. And who would I be without the thought? Just trusting the ground. You see how I'm just starting, just going to the real deal, the terror. When we don't trust, and it's far reaching.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm also trying to exaggerate or invite people into how crazy the mind can really get when we're really seriously fearful. It can take us to a lot of places, but trusting the ground is one that I went through when I had the thought the world could fall out from under me.
The example go on, sorry.
And then testing that the world could not fall out from under me. It was a way that I could literally walk out of my house. It's the only way I could do it.
The example that you used several times was for the work questions was people don't like me. Is that something does that come from you, or is that something that you're just picking something random? And
these are thoughts that we've all had at one time or another.
Yeah.
There are no new stressful thoughts. They're all recycled. It's just, do we believe them or not? Do we attach to them or not? So this takes attachment to a whole new level. We don't attach to things and people in the world. We attach to what we're believing about people and things in the world. Like, we believe that would make me happy. He would make me happy. She would make me. It's basically when we're believing that, we're we live an unfulfilled life.
Are there any fear-based patterns that you still replay?
I still experience all the images, all the words. It's just no attachment to them. They're just like they're fantasy. It would be like you go to a movie, but you know it's a movie.
Right. Yeah, I was reading in the. And do I have to let you go right now? We're in the what time do you got to leave? Get out of here?
James is saying we've got a few more minutes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm reading the Bhagavad-Gita presently. The translation from Eknath Eswaran. I think it's just. Have you gotten into the?
Well, Stephen Mitchell, my husband, has translated the Bhagavad-Gita, and it's evidently a really clear translation, and yes, Bhagavad-Gita.
I gotta check that one out.
Yeah.
But so one of the things it gets into is like one of the primary parts of it is renunciation and that ability to kind of find equanimity no matter what the situation. Someone's chopping your arm off. It's like, okay, that's the way it is. Here we are.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it that I've gathered from it was, one of the highest points of spiritual union is to be able to feel deeply with those around you. So feel their joy and feel their sorrow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this interesting juxtaposition or contrast between like a empathic sociopath in a way.
Yeah. But if someone's going to chop my arm off and let's say they've got a big sword in their hand,
right,
and they're standing there saying they're going to chop my arm off, and there's nowhere for me to run or hide, and so am I okay in that moment? I'm 100% okay. He hasn't chopped my arm off yet. So now the sword is closer. He swung it with all his might, and it's closer. But why would I fear? Why would I be upset? He hasn't chopped it off yet. He hasn't even touched the skin yet. And the mind can slow down to that. And so I am appreciating life. I appreciate that what he's thinking and believing is the cause of why he would do such a thing. So that makes him innocent. No one can help believing what they believe in the moment they believe it. If I believe what he believed, I'd chop my arm off too. How could I not? It's a crazy state of mind to hurt yourself or another human being. So now let's say the sword actually just hit and severed all the way through, and my hand fell off from my arm. Okay, so I want to wait to see if it hurts before I start screaming. For all I know, it doesn't hurt. And I can tell you honestly, Aaron, that all pain is either remembered or anticipated. So is there pain? So am I experiencing compassion for anyone that would do such a thing as to chop another person's arm off? So that is, and also the advantage of having your arm chopped off in the long run. Your mind can immediately begin to travel to that. It's a friendly universe, and I invite all of you listening to test that. It's until we can see it that way. This life is pretty shaky. And also, if I can shift to a kinder state of mind through inquiry, anyone can, because I wouldn't want anyone to drop into a state of mind that was as crazy as the journey I took.
Yeah, but then here you are now. So it's like it's all the cliche stuff. It happened perfectly, and it was the best thing. And so to be able to see that in that moment, that's the that's the trick.
Yeah, that's it. And love what is, and either way, in this world, here it comes. We can love it or we can hate it. We can open our arms to it, or we can try to shut the world out. And so inquiry has allowed me to open my arms. It's nothing that I had no, if someone had told me there was a way out of suffering, I didn't have the ability to believe them.
Yeah.
It took a little divine intervention for some of us.
Well, thank you so much for letting me go over the time. When we were doing 30 minutes, I was like, no. So I appreciate it. What's a good direction to point people, or is there anything?
Gosh, to thework.com. And people interested in non-duality, I have a no body coming up in Chicago. And I have a school for the work that that shows up on my calendar, and it's 9 days of inquiry, and it's a radical 9 days. And excuse me, and I invite everyone to that. Cool. And yeah.
Awesome. And then
Aaron,
go on.
I was just going to say, you are delightful.
Oh, God.
You are delightful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a reflection of you, Katie. You know that.
Oh boy. Well, I'm looking good.
Yeah.
In that case, I'm looking
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are, we think.
All right. Well, thank you so much. If you're open to it, I'd be happy to offer you Rolfing or bring you gifts like the 3 wise men or anything. Like I so greatly appreciate
that. That is so sweet and so like you. But the way you're serving people, honey, that is a gift to all of us. So that's it.
Cool. Well, sweet. Well, I appreciate it. I will continue getting into your work. I look forward to seeing what's to come.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye, Aaron.
Bye. That was great.